coming up on the sports side.
Before you can win, you got to figure out how to not lose the game, and that starts with turnovers and not giving up big plays, and and so obviously we're gonna need to go back to work and fix some of that.
I've been out there where it's hard to get a first down, it's hard to stop somebody, and that's one of the best teams in the league. And it didn't feel like it was so hard where we couldn't accomplish something, right? It definitely wasn't easy, but it wasn't like a miserable chance, to try something. So I saw that from the defense, saw that from our guys.
Welcome into the Sports Hype, your newest home for sports news updates. I'm Walter Thompson. What an opening weekend in the National Football League. And as you just heard from head coach Josh McDaniels and starting quarterback Derek Carr, the Las Vegas Raiders, not too pleased with their opening performance of the 2022-2023 NFL season, taking an L down in LA against the Los Angeles Chargers 24-19. Look, this had to be Derek Carr's worst performance in his professional football career. 3 interceptions. There was something amiss with this football team. And look, I don't expect them to play that bad again, but that was a divisional game that they needed to come out of the gate and make a statement under the new Josh McDaniels era. And that was not what they had envisioned. That wasn't what any Raider fans had envisioned. But we'll take that. 24-19, had a chance to win at the end as bad as we played. Look, you throw 3 interceptions and you still got a chance with 2 minutes to go down the field and win the football game. I'll take that every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? Like that shows that your team never gave up. As bad as it looked, they never quit. They made the adjustments at halftime. That defense played lights out in the second half. They were in there. They were in the game. They were engaged. So, look, I look for them to rebound this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, again, the big key takeaway from this football game, 3 interceptions by Derek Carr, unacceptable, and Josh McDaniels spoke on it in the postgame.
Obviously, it's difficult to win when you lose the turnover margin the way that we did and give them opportunities. They're a good football team, and they took advantage of some of those, especially there in the second quarter. And, but like the way our team fought, I respect the fact that we made it a game, had an opportunity there at the end, but we got to do a lot better, and we can do a lot better than what we did.
To say Derek Carr had a bad day at the office would be an understatement. But if I'm a Raider fan, which I am, I'm not too worried about this game. I'm not too worried about his interceptions in this game. If you're familiar with Derek Carr, back in 2018 he had a streak of 325 passes without throwing a pick. And once that streak ended, he threw 2 interceptions in that game, and that was that. But look, he threw three picks in this game. And I think it was more or less him trying to prove a point. For the first time in his career, he has the number 1 receiver in the league. Davante Adams is the best that it's going to get when it comes to wide receivers. This is his opportunity to play with a guy who made Aaron Rodgers look really, really good for so many years, right? And now you get an opportunity to play with that guy. Yeah, you're going to go to him. That's your guy. You went to college with him. That's your guy. You trained with him in the offseason. You've done so every year that you've been a pro. These guys have a connection. And he spoke about having the opportunity to go out there and play with Davante Adams.
But I'm out there, it wasn't, first play I go right to him, and it wasn't like some big celebration. It was just like, all right, well, next time, next one. I've thrown him thousands of footballs in my life. And so it's exciting to play with him, but he'll tell you, we just want to win. And so we'll turn the film on, and I'll be better about making too aggressive decisions when I don't have to. That's really what it came down to, is me forcing the ball to my guys.
Looking at Davante Adams' stat line for this game, 10 receptions, 141 yards, 1 touchdown. He was targeted 17 times by one Derek Carr. Second most targeted receiver was Darren Waller, 6 times, 4 receptions, 79 yards, a long of 31. Davante Adams' longest reception was 41 yards. He's got the weapons. He's just got to learn how to distribute them. In the post, Devontae said, look, he wasn't surprised at how many times he was targeted.
That's what they brought me here for, to be a big part of this offense and help move the ball and put points on the board. So that's that's my job. That's what I'm ready to do. I'm ready for, I'm a volume type guy, so, I'm always ready for that. And if the game goes any other type of way, then we'll adjust and we'll deal with that too. But that means that somebody else is probably, handling their business and we're able to move the ball. So most important part is for this offense and team to do well, obviously. But, if I'm a big part of it on any given week, I'm expecting that.
Look, I don't have a problem with how many times Devontae Adams was targeted. 17 times. He caught the ball 10 times, scored a touchdown, 100-plus receiving yards. Look, I'm all for it. We've never had a receiver like this in Vegas, Oakland, L.A., whatever. And I know we had some good ones. And the last time we had guys like this is when Tim Brown and Jerry Rice were donning the silver and black. I'll say that. This is the next best thing. I don't count the Randy Moss era. I don't count that at all, so I'm not even going to put him in there. This is next level stuff for the Raiders and this offense. They got to take advantage of it, but you can't forget about the guys who got you here. You can't forget about the Hunter Renfrow. You can't forget about the Darren Wallers. You can't forget about those guys. Those guys are very intricate parts of what makes this offense go. Hunter Renfrow yesterday, 3 receptions, 21 yards. That's not enough. He was only targeted 6 times. That's uncharacteristic of Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow went over 1,000 yards last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Darren Waller, 4 receptions, 79 yards. That's decent. But there were a couple of times where Darren Waller was wide open and DC was going straight to Adams. You got to go to the guys. You got to feed the beast. Feed your guys. You just paid Darren Waller. You just paid Hunter Renfrow in the offseason. You got to distribute the ball to these guys. And it's going to be tough. Having so many weapons for the first time in his career, I get it. First game, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, a couple other guys. Who do you go to? And he basically said, look, game plan will dictate how the ball is distributed as well as how the defense is reacting.
When you have so many guys, it's hard for them all to have 10 catches, or 15 targets. That's a lot of footballs being thrown to only them. So I think that's something that coach and those guys will deal with throughout the season, and I'm just going to do my best to read them out and make sure that, like the one I forced to Darren down the middle, Hunter ran a great route, but it was a short route. I'm trying to, go down the field and things like that. I could have easily gave it to him there. That's another one. But I think that'll be a thing that we'll see, throughout the year.
And Coach McDaniels reiterated those same sentiments, saying that ball distribution will work itself out as this season goes on.
Distribution has a funny way of evening itself out throughout the course of the season. I've been in games where, they don't take away Randy Moss and the ball goes there 20 times, and then the next week he has 3 targets, So like I said, over time, those things tend to even themselves out.
Look, certainly a good problem to have if you're Derek Carr. Too many weapons. We look back last year, didn't have enough. Didn't have enough weapons at times for certain reasons we all know. Injuries and guys getting in trouble. We remember all of that, right? So this year you got more than enough weapons. Now you just got to learn how to utilize them. And that'll come with time. And look, I truly believe they should have played at least a couple of drives in the preseason. I get it. I understand it. But when you got a new coaching staff, you had 4 preseason games, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow. They didn't play. They didn't play one snap. And you can do that if you're Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or some of these guys that have actually won Super Bowls or teams that have won Super Bowls in the past 5-10 years. You ain't at that level. You were given 4 preseason games. You should have took advantage of at least one of them. So I know that everybody else is doing it. That's the trend now. Starters don't play in the preseason. but you needed to take that. You needed to get that rust off. Like that, the issues that we ran into this game. You don't come into the first game of the season against a team like the Chargers, and this is the first time you guys are stepping out on the field in a real game situation together in the National Football League with all those different weapons. Wasn't good. Wasn't good. Look, I don't ever expect Derek Carr to play that bad again. 3 interceptions, a fumble. Look, it ain't happening. It's Derek Carr. So I'm not worried about that. The offense will get going. What I am worried about is that offensive line. That offensive line gave up 5 sacks. 5 on your starting franchise quarterback. 5 sacks. The offensive line issues were not addressed in the offseason. We thought they were, but they're not. They have to figure this out. You know, McDaniel spoke on the offensive line and how he thought they performed.
You know, I know what the ultimate sack number was. I thought we did a decent job in many ways of just, giving ourselves a chance to get the ball out on time. And then, when we ended up having to hold the ball, some of that was based on the coverage. I thought they did a good job, changed up a lot of different things in the secondary, forced us to hold the ball a little bit on a few things that, you're blocking good rushers and, you have to hold the ball a little bit. Sometimes it's going to happen. But I thought our guys fought. Those 7 guys went in there and competed hard. We knew they were going to play coming into the game. And, again, like I said, there's a lot to learn from. We'll see how they did.
Look, that's obvious coach speak. He doesn't want to throw anybody under the bus. But, look, they got to fix that offensive line. Derek Carr was sacked 5 times. 3 of them came at the hands of former Raider Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack had 3 sacks in this game. They got to fix the offensive line. They got to find a combination. If the guys aren't there, you got to go get them. Look, Alex Leatherwood didn't make it past his rookie season. You let him go. You had a guy retire before the season started. You got to address this offensive line. I mean, you got a quarterback that is your franchise guy who can get you to where you're trying to get to. You got to keep him upright. They got to fix the offensive line. Josh McDaniels, you guys got to address it. I thought maybe a new offensive line coach coming in there would be able to help scheme a little bit different. But we're running into the same situation we ran into in the Gruden era, in the Jack Del Rio era. Like, this offensive line is abysmal. The only positive on that offensive line is Colton Miller. Colton Miller is a staple on that offensive line. He's been getting the job done. He's been holding his spot down. Everybody else is expendable. Everybody else on that offensive line can go. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not an issue. You bring in Devontae Adams. You bring in all these other weapons. You draft all these running backs. When are we going to address this offensive line? It has to change. I'm going to give the offensive line a benefit of the doubt. They did go up against probably one of the best defensive lines in the league. You went up against Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. That's a tall task to handle. But if they go into this Arizona game and they come out with a similar result, yeah, we got a serious problem. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, though. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, that's a tall task. With 5 sacks is still too much. You got to cut that down. You got to keep Carr upright. I mean, you can't have your franchise quarterback getting sacked 5 times. Again, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, tall task, but we'll see. Arizona, we're going to see what happens. And when they go up against those guys, similar result, we got a problem. But I do take some positives from this game. Our defense gave up 24 points, but in the fourth quarter, they shut them out. 0 points allowed in the fourth quarter. Gave our offense a chance to put some points on the board to make this game close. Look, they only gave up 7 points in the second half. You got to give the Raider defense a lot of credit for the positions that they were put in by the offense, turning the ball over 3 times. Yeah, 24 points is a lot of points, but considering how this game went, they gave the team a chance to win the game at the end of the day. With about 2 minutes to go, we had the ball and we were driving. We just couldn't get it done. So kudos to the defense. We got some positive things coming out of this game to look forward to. Like I said, I don't think the offense will play that bad again. So what's next for the Raiders? The Raiders head back to Vegas, home opener, Allegiant Stadium, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray coming to town. This is going to be a good one. I mean, look, Kyler Murray last week against the Chiefs, our arch rival, the Chiefs, he was 22 of 34, 193 yards and 2 touchdowns, had a QBR rating of 52.9 and was sacked 2 times. I don't think he's going to be able to do much against us. You got Chandler Jones, who's very familiar with him, playing against his old team. He's going to give some insight in that defensive room of what it takes to stop Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is going to be running for his life all night. Max on one side, Chandler on the other side. This is going to be a bad night for Kyler Murray. Look, he only put 193 on the board against the Chiefs. I don't expect him to do much more against us. On the other side, looking at their defense, they allow Patrick Mahomes to throw for 360 yards, 5 touchdowns, 30 of 39, threw no interceptions, a 94.1 QBR rating. Look, I expect Derek Carr to do what he did against the Chargers. I expect him to have a repeat performance, minus the 3 interceptions, and the Raiders should come out of there with a home opener victory, and they'll move on. They'll go to 1-1 and move on and try to keep this thing rolling. Look, this is a good game for us. This is a winnable game for us. This is a game the Raiders need to win. They got to have this game. You don't want to lose your home opener. You don't want to start 0-2. I hate to say early in the season that this is a must-win, but it is. They have to win this game. They need to win this game for confidence. You don't want to go 0-2 under a new head coach. And look, just go win this game. Go win the game. Go prove that you guys have made the right moves in the offseason. Prove that that offensive line can actually hold their own, and prove that you guys can put some points on the board. Devontae comes out of there with another touchdown. Get Hunter, get Darren involved, get Josh Jacobs over 100 yards, and we can move forward with a positive outlook on the rest of this football season. Well, that does it for this episode of the Sports Hype. Coming up on the next episode, man, we're going to look forward to the Jackson State, Grambling State game down in Jackson, Mississippi. For the first time ever, head coach Deion Sanders and head coach Hugh Jackson will face off on the collegiate level. This is going to be a good one, but we're going to get into that on the next episode, man. We're also going to look forward to the NFL, the Raiders home opener in Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. We'll jump into that one as well. And the rest of the action around the college football and NFL world. You're listening to the Sports Hype right here on the Sports Hype Media Network.